Welcome to the Christian Indie Writers Podcast, where we encourage, inform, and support other Christian indie writers on their journey to publication. I'm Christina Catane, and I write in multiple genres, including Christian fiction.
I'm Jamie Hirschberger. I write short fiction under the pen name J.R. Nichols.
I'm Rhonda Hagerman, and I write, what do I write? Fiction and nonfiction.
And I'm Jennifer Carl Tong, and I write, as always, historical Christian romance.
Okay, we are feeling a little silly today. We like to start each episode out with a little segment we call What's Up, and that's where we check in with each other to find out what's going on in our personal and writing lives. So let's start with you, Jamie. What's up?
Well, for the viewers, Christmas has come and gone, but we are recording ahead of time, so from the past, I am talking to you. Ooh, creepy. But anyway, I am getting ready to travel for the holidays. I am going up to Michigan to see my friends and family and getting all packed up and ready to do that. So that's what's up with me. How about you, Rhonda?
Christmas, museum, lots of fun stuff. Writing, trying to keep my writing habits up.
Yeah.
Jen?
Well, I, like everyone else, am in the midst of getting ready for Christmas. I am getting ready to be one of the friends that Jamie's coming to see, so very excited about that. Everyone's coming over on Wednesday, so that'll be great. I just have to do a quick shout out to my husband before we go any further. A couple of episodes ago, a while ago, during November when we were doing our live episodes, I guess I made a comment, something to the effect of, well, that was before my husband left. And my husband called me immediately after that aired and said, what? Because I didn't realize my husband travels for work now. And I just meant that happened before he left traveling for work. But apparently that's not how it came across. And so I just want to let everyone know things are fine. My husband hasn't left me. He was not really that happy about that. So we're good. Love you, honey. Thank you very much. But other than that, that's all I'm doing, getting ready for Christmas.
Well, how nice that your husband actually watches the podcast.
That is nice.
Yeah.
That's really nice. Yeah.
He's a big fan of ours. He really is.
That's awesome.
His favorite part is when we share our writing, like when we do our little quick writes and share those. He really enjoys that. So
Aww.
That's good to know.
Yeah. All right, Tina, what's up with you?
Well, it's been a little bit of a rough day, especially for my husband today. He's been at the hospital with his mom. She had a fall in the nursing home and broke her leg. And so she's kind of up there in years, and it's not looking good right now. So she could use some prayers. Her name is Carol. So
Be praying for her for sure.
thank you. Okay, so today's podcast is very timely because when this airs, it's going to be just after New Year's, when everyone's thinking about New Year's resolutions and things they want to accomplish in the new year. And so we are going to be talking about our writing goals.
Yes, we are. And this is actually a take two. We did record a goal setting episode in the summer of 2018. And when we reviewed the goal setting podcast, we all kind of looked at each other and said, we think we need a do-over. So you're going to see a writing exercise that we recorded back in July, and you're going to see a postcast that we recorded back in July. But this episode is a retake of a goal setting episode that we recorded once upon a time.
Yes. Because, it was our first goal setting that we'd ever done. And we are all, like most of you that are watching this, still kind of new to this game, not just the writing game, but the editing game and the creating covers game. And so we probably set things that were too unrealistic, but we're going to talk about that individually with each other. So.
Right.
Great. And we're going to start with Tina, right? Isn't that what we're going to do? Because that was the order that we had originally done once upon a time.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm in the hot seat.
Yeah, Tina's in the hot seat.
So I went today and I rewatched that episode where I made all these goals, of which I did not achieve. Maybe one of them I sort of achieved.
So you did start like a writing plan for yourself, right?
Yes, I did start a curriculum planner that lasted 3 weeks.
Oh.
So I'm really if you want to know one of my worst flaws is my follow through. I'm not good at follow through. I get real excited about stuff and I start, and then I get bored easily, and then I just kind of move on to the next thing that excites me. And those little things in the past just kind of get forgotten. So I think that's what happened with the curriculum. Maybe I need to add it to my actual homeschool curriculum that I use with my son. I don't know, but yeah, that lasted a good whopping 3 weeks. So that wasn't good. And I also made the goal that I was going to write 2 writing sprints a day, 1,500 words, and I didn't fail at that as badly as all the other goals, because I have been doing writing sprints a lot of times with you guys, sometimes on my own, but it hasn't been every day, and I haven't been happy with the quality of the writing that I'm producing during those writing sprints.
Why do you think that is, Tina? What is it that you find at fault with that writing?
I've been thinking about that, and I'm thinking maybe I need to change my focus from quantity of words and change it to quality of words, and not so much worry about did I get 1,500 words today, but did I spend time today getting quality words out on the page? Because I'm looking back over what I've written. There's a lot of work that's going to have to be done when I go back to edit, because I was just sprinting and focusing on quantity.
Would everyone else
Is that
agree with
because
that?
of NaNoWriMo? It was you were trying to hit a word count goal?
No, not really, because I wasn't working on this novel that I'm talking about during NaNoWriMo. I was working on something else. And I still think there's some of that in there, some of the quality issues. Now, sometimes when I get a fresh writing prompt and only 15 minutes to write, I can produce something that I like. But when it's a bigger work like that, and I have a bunch of small writing sprints, I feel like my quality decreases with time.
Maybe we just need to rephrase or rename what we're doing then, because when you think about a sprint, it's fast and frenzied and whatever. And really what you need is 25 minutes of focused attention on your work.
Right.
So I don't know how we could call it something different to indicate that it's not about quantity while you're working, right? It's just like a work session. So maybe someone could come up with a little handle for what we could call them, you know?
Marathon.
Whatever amount of time I spend, I need to change my focus. Because the last 2 weeks, I've been handwriting on purpose to slow myself down and make myself think about the quality of what I'm writing. And I think I got 3,000 words last week.
Wow.
Even by handwriting, even though I was doing 2 25-minute writing sprints a day. I only wrote 3,000 words.
Well, only 3,000 words.
In a week.
Well, right. Yeah.
And when I was sprinting, when I was doing typing, I was doing almost 1,000 words in 25 minutes.
Are you happy with the 3,000 words, though? Happier than what you had been?
Some of it I'm really happy with it, and some of it needs work. But overall, I think I'm happier than so I think I need to get in a headspace where I'm not thinking about quantity, and I need to get these 80,000 words done and get this book done. I need to think about quality and staying in the scene I'm in and making it the best scene that I can write.
Can I ask
how long it takes? Yeah, go ahead.
Is there ever a time for quantity, like maybe during the first draft, just trying to get the ideas out, or not? Or are you just completely getting rid of that mindset?
Well, I'm in the first draft, but I think I'm kind of eating an elephant compared to, when you're writing only for 15 minutes and the story doesn't have to be complete, there's a freedom to that doesn't put that pressure on to get it done. And I think that's my problem. I think I feel, whether it's put on by myself or comments that other people make, when are you going to get your book done? There's that pressure there. to get those words out and get it done. And I think my creative process is suffering.
I would totally agree with everything you said, but then I would have this, I don't even know how to say the word, is it caveat? Because if you just allow yourself to languish around in the words, then you will be that author that's writing the great American novel who never publishes because there's never a deadline. So how do you balance the two between, yes, you have to finish the book, so you have to get to like the end. Like, do you ever give yourself a deadline to finish the book if you're allowing yourself so much creative freedom that way? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
In other words, how do we hold you accountable to get to publication?
Yeah, I'm going to need more time to think about that. I'm going to have to play with different ways of writing. I don't think that I'm going to get their handwriting. It's just too slow. So I think I'm going to have to find some other way. And I don't know what that is right now. I'm going to have to do some experimenting and see what I can do to get quality and quantity.
You know, I like to think, and I like Jennifer's idea during November of just like, I have to work on this chapter and I'm going to give myself a month to write this chapter. Well, that's not however many thousand words. That's, I need to get this chapter finished, right? And so
Right.
possibly you could have goals like that, chunks of writing that are not numbers in your head. It's just that you can see progression happening to where this draft is going to be wrapped up. Just a suggestion. But, you know, I agree that you come back and are able to set goals after you've had some time to sit with this.
Right.
To clarify, you mean when I said that instead of focus on numbers, I was going to try to do a chapter a day? Is that what you're talking about?
You were talking
Yeah.
about, yeah, when you were doing Nano, like I liked that concept that you were like, well, I want to write a chapter. If it's 1,600 words or if it's 3,000 words, whatever, I want to write a chapter a day. Now, you know your chapters are going to put you over Nano numbers, and that's why you said it. But for Tina's purposes, I think maybe that will help her feel like she has smaller assignments,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And then they're not numbers of words that she's trying to reach. It's just, I need to write this scene, you know? And anyway, just what I was thinking.
What do you think about that, Tina?
Yeah, I think I'm going to play with that. Like maybe, okay, this scene needs to be written, and I'm giving myself, like, I'll look at my schedule for that week and say either 3 days or 5 days or whatever I think.
That might help too, like how sometimes a chapter, when you would submit it to us for us to read, it almost feels like you race through it. That maybe if you know that like you're writing this chapter, but you can't go on to the next chapter until whatever, you know what I mean? Like you just said how much time you're gonna spend on this chapter. And so if you finish it today and you still have more writing to do, you have to go back and work on that chapter more because you're not allowed to go on to the next one. Maybe
Yeah.
that might help with that too. I think this is a great discussion for other people to hear too, because first of all, I think that what you go through with people saying to you, when is your book coming out? Because we all face that. I think that all new writers, maybe even established writers, face that. And it's one of those things that makes you want to pull your hair out. I think I might throw a tweet out there and see if we get any good responses from some of our listeners and see how they respond to that. But it is a struggle that we have as writers. So I think it's good for you to, I appreciate you sharing that is something that actually hinders your writing, because I think it affects all of us too. And I think it's good for people to hear that, like, we don't all write the same. You know, I don't rush through scenes, even if it's a sprint, but that's just me. There's other issues I have with my writing that I have to work on. So, but we'll get to me in a minute. All right. So, but to get to what Jamie, I think, was kind of alluding to is how do we hold you accountable? So you need to have some sort of goal that is measurable, right? That we can kind of,
Right.
so is that going to be, I'm going to do this many chapters a week?
Well, I've been thinking about that too, and I think it's going to kill two birds with one stone.
Okay.
Because I've been struggling to find things to submit for the postcast.
I was going to ask about that.
Because I'm just writing and I'm not editing, and so then to have to go back and edit and try to get something polished enough to be actually critiqued then I'm like on the last minute, on the last day, like trying to figure out what am I going to try to polish up. So if I'm taking like a week per chapter and I'm doing my polishing during that week, just for an example, then I can submit that for the postcast.
I'm not against the chapter a week. so I hope that this doesn't come out that way. But a chapter a week, you're looking at, if you're doing a 32 chapter book, that's going to take you over half a year to write one book. Not against it. I just want to make
Right.
sure.
Well,
everybody thought
I'm
that
just
through.
throwing that out there as an example of maybe
Okay.
like this week, probably one chapter because I've got it's the week before Christmas and I've just got 100 things on my schedule.
Okay.
So some
Now,
weeks it'll be more than one.
I know, Tina, that you just let me say this, and then you can say, no, that won't work for me if you want. But when we were doing the other writing group, you would sit down the day something was due, you would barf out a story, you would edit it, you would turn it in, and everybody would rave about it. So I think that for purposes of glowing brain and for purposes of not getting burnt out on what you're doing, you may want to still commit yourself to writing a one-off story or just something really fun for the days that you have a podcast deadline. Our postcast listeners are not necessarily looking for the next chapter of Lost from you. You could turn in whatever you want. And also, if we have negative feedback about it, you'll be like, well, I just wrote this today, so I mean, it was the best I could do under the gun or whatever, to kind of buffer anything that might feel harsh to you. I'm not saying give us something that's crappy that you didn't even proofread or anything like that. I'm saying you are capable of doing more than just crafting your novel at the same time. And I think it'll help your brain, it'll help your creative process, and some of those mechanical things, that you're wanting to work on.
Yeah.
That's just a suggestion.
I think that's a good idea. I think I need to do at least one other work a week because I get bored so easily.
I have a suggestion. Our writing exercises at the beginning of the podcast, why don't you take those after you've heard our critiques and turn that into a longer short story?
Oh, that could work.
Usually those are so great anyway.
All
I
right.
thought about that too.
So that'll take the pressure off of you for having to feel like your novel is perfect, scrambling to get to perfection so that you could turn it in for a critique. Do you know what I mean? Like, I totally get why that would be stressful.
Yeah. So I guess I'm going to have to think about how you can hold me accountable. Maybe as I'm finished with one chapter, I'll just announce it in the Facebook page.
But what
Well,
is
and I
your
think-
goal, though, Tina? Like, this
Yeah.
is what we're talking about. What is your goal? Like, that's how we'll hold you accountable. Like, what do you want to have as a goal?
I
don't
want
care.
progress every single week on my novel.
And I think that
I know
this should
that's
be
sorry, go ahead.
for all of us, though, during the What's Up, this is the kind of thing, that's accountability corner, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you want us to ask you in accountability corner? And what do you want us to say if you say, well, I didn't really do much writing this week? What would you want the response to be? Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
well, next week we want you to write every day, young lady, or
Yeah, that probably wouldn't help.
And I don't want you to feel like we're like we're attacking you, or like that this is like we're not giving up on this. But like before we did that last episode that we're not going to throw in the trash, we had goals like this. Well, I just want to make progress. Okay. And then there was like, we all were kind of like lax about our goals. And then we had this like killer episode where it was like, I'm going to do this, 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 and this, and this by next Tuesday. You know what I mean? So we need to find a happy medium.
Right.
And I feel, so as your friend and your accountability partner, you need to have a better goal, because we
I
can't
know.
hold you accountable to this.
But
And
I
if you
don't
fail,
know what I
if-
need to be right now.
I think you're afraid of failing. I think we all are. After listening to that episode, I think
Yes.
we're all really gun shy, and you're the first one to go. So I know it's hard. So how about you think about it for the rest of the episode, and we're going to come back to you, because I'm
that's
not.
a good idea.
I love you too much, and I mean that with sincerity. I love you too much to let you off the hook like this. And I
Yeah,
hope,
and the
I
world
hope you
needs
won't
your
let me
book.
off the hook. Yes, and I hope you guys don't let me off the hook. Okay.
All right.
All right. Yeah, I think we all need to be better accountability partners to one another too. But we've all been kind of in nano headspace,
Yeah.
and it's been really kind of a weird thing. Anyway,
So January is gonna be a whole new ball game. We're not.
It sure
gonna be
is.
Yeah, I agree with that.
okay. So is it my turn now? Like, aren't I second?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so I listened to the podcast, and I was really happy because I didn't fail as horribly as I thought I had. Okay. Now, I did not get Corny ready for publication by October 13th, but I did get it to my proofreader, and he got it back to me. And I think I was about a month behind having it ready for me to slap the cover on and get published. But then that's where I got hung up, because I'm not a cover designer and I'm trying to learn this. And I don't care if my covers are bad. I want to be able to do this legitimately, inexpensively, and I just have to hope and pray it doesn't cost me sales and God will send people to buy it. I hope, whatever. But it was just so hilarious because I sent the cover mock-up, or what I thought was close to good, to a good friend who I knew was my writing audience. And she's like, well, I'm not sure if this guy's like a shapeshifter or what from the cover. I'm like, totally not what the story's about. And so I was worried I was sending the wrong message with my cover. And, I either regroup and attack again when I'm faced with like feedback like that, or I kind of say, well, I'll worry about it later. And so that's what I did. So I shelved all of that, and also realized that like we made these goals and everything, and I put dates, and I never ever looked at the calendar ever again of what I thought I was doing. Now, I did also start the Patreon, and hooray, I did get 3 installments of my biker story up there, like I said I was going to, except I had decided to make it 4 chunks just because of how it broke up. So I still have to put the other 4th chunk up there, but I did actually put something on my, yay! Like,
That's awesome.
But I totally did not honor any of the deadlines that I pulled out of my rear end, and also do not have the C is for Camp story 100% ready to go either. So I just simply listened to the episode and gave myself new dates that I'm pledging to look at, because my plan going forward is to do the idea that Jennifer and I talked about before, which is to have office hours for myself. And so I will spend the first part of my office hours crafting or just writing or whatever, but I will write for the first part of my day because I want to write every day. I think even if it isn't anything quote unquote useful to me as far as my current work in progress, that it is doing something for my craft and my brain and makes me prolific and write cleaner. And so I don't want to stop just simply writing every day, even if it's not quote unquote useful. Once I've done 1,000 words of whatever, then I will move to whatever is on my calendar thing, which I will look at this time, which will help me to meet my goals. So I have decided that Corny, I'm going to have to just have a shape-shifting cover or fix it or whatever. And I will publish Corny on January 11th is my new date. That gives me plenty of time to be done traveling, to be back home and everything flat, hopefully. Then I'm going to put up the first installment of the next Patreon doodad, which is the C is for Camp story. So it's looking like the 11th is kind of the day that I'm doing stuff, because then I'm going to do February 11th. I'm going to publish that B is for Biker story, the life and death in Little Bavaria. Remember, Rhonda, I had some covers started for that, so I'm a little bit excited because I actually liked it. So that's cool. And I'm hoping that with releasing these shorts, it will help me get better at making covers, or I'll get feedback that'll make me better or whatever. Then I want to, in March, publish, this is the big one, the 3rd book in the Second Chance series, because the reason it's a big one is because it's the one with the editing that, remember, I get any pushback, I just either attack it or put it aside. It got put aside, and I moved Corny in place and did that instead. So making that deadline of March 11th for the 3rd book is really going to be difficult for me. But the way I look at it, hopefully I'll have 2 wins coming into March. If I can win in January by getting Corny out and win in February by getting the biker book out, I'll hopefully be feeling very encouraged and be riding like a good feeling, going into getting this launch for March. So my work will be consisting of writing 1,000 words and then turning to either getting Corny published, editing the Sylvia book, so that I have projects where I can feel I'm making progress towards these goals, and it's not the same work that I'm doing every day, so I don't go crazy with the sameness of having a scheduled life. because that's one of the reasons why I like to freelance, is because I do not like having boredom and routine, you see.
Mhm.
So you guys can hold me accountable just by stinking asking me, okay, you said you were going to launch Corny on January 11th. Like, do you have your cover done? Do you have,
Can you
and
send
then,
us a copy of all that you wrote down there? Because that's pretty extensive, which I love that. But
yeah, well, because it was just really taking the goals that I had set before and using the information that I had of like what I'm really capable of, and also where the progress of everything is. Because Corny is like done. It's sitting on my computer waiting to have a cover put on it and figure out judo or whatever and get it out there. Do you know what I mean?
mhm.
Have you considered asking some people for advice on your cover?
Yes, well, I have. I may have to bite the bullet. I'm recording right now. You can't. He wanted a hug. I'm sorry. I know, isn't it? Come here, come get a hug.
Give him a
Oh,
hug.
look at, he also wants to show me his traveling outfit. Show them what you're wearing on the plane.
Tell him
Oh,
that.
nice.
Tell
He looks
Zachary
nice.
that I will give him a hug when I see him.
It's new pants and a shirt. How do you like those pants? They're like a skinny fit. He does not like them. Dad said he will let you actually throw them in the trash when we get to Michigan. He said that might make him feel better if he can wear them on the plane. So sorry about that. What was the question? I forgot.
Your cover, asking for advice.
Oh, yeah, yes. And I'm probably going to have to go ahead and buy a stock image, because what would really make me happy, I think, since I had a silhouette on the first book, would to be actually to have the raccoon in a silhouette on the front with the guy with the mop, because I have a guy with the mop. And then if I have the raccoon with him, and then I could put him in a cage on the back, it will help with the shape-shifty feeling. But it's not something I thought about trying to fix, because, again, I just kind of put it away. I think it's doable. It's just a matter of doing it. Just kind of like what I said in the other episode. It's not that I think that the work is too much. It's just making myself do the work.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'll send you guys this timeline that I figured out for myself.
All right. All right, great. So that's awesome. That's very extensive. And I think you can do it too, Jamie. So you send us that list and we'll help to keep you on track with that.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right, Rhonda, you're up next.
Eh. Okay. What do you want from me? I did not meet those goals at all. So,
Well, let's talk about why. Why do you think you didn't meet them? Like, did
well,
you overshoot, do you think?
yes.
Or did life get in the way in a way you didn't expect?
Yes. What else
Did
do you got?
aliens show up and
Yes.
yes.
Illegal aliens or space aliens?
Both.
Crazy.
No raccoon aliens and everything. Okay, so those that I were gonna do were gonna be 6,000 to 8,000 words a piece. So it's not like I couldn't get the words out, but I think the biggest problem was that I had a mind block, because that character is so kind of specific, and when those words that you guys read, that was almost done in like 2 days. I was up north and I was relaxed and I felt like writing, and he just came out.
Yeah.
And trying to get him to come back out is sort of like trying to do an exorcism, and I really don't want to
Yes.
do that.
I totally know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes. Thank you. So I think that is why that was my number one reason for not getting the work done. Because so 4 of those would have been 32,000 words at the most. And that's what I wrote in November on its own. So it's not that I couldn't do it. I just didn't. So what I would like to do, say my new goals are, is the book that I wrote for Nano. I'm still in the first draft of it. I would like to have the first draft done by the end of December 31st.
Oh.
And then do no writing on January 1st. Although actually maybe I shouldn't do that. I should start the new year off. It's kind of like kissing the person you're going to kiss the rest of the year, right? On New Year's Eve. So I will write on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. And I would like it to be the beginning of my second draft.
Ooh.
So I think for me, the first draft is the hardest, But I think the second and third draft, maybe I can get both of those done in January. What do you guys think about that? This is a novella.
I think you can do it. If you just if you just do it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you
Yeah.
have so many plates that you're spinning, it seems like all the time. And it's hard for me to answer that question because I don't know what plates you have to spin in January.
Yeah,
It
I
seems
think you are legitimately the busiest person of the four of us. Like with as many things that you have that you are expected to answer to other people and meet deadlines and try to figure out how you then get to fit your writing in. I mean, we're all busy, don't get me wrong, but I think as far as people holding you accountable to do stuff, not just mom duty and wife duty, but also, you know, work or whatever you would call it. So, yeah, what Jen said basically.
Well, I will tell you that it is getting a little bit lighter because most of the curating at the new museum, the hard part is done. So now it's maintaining it. So that is going to free up a lot of time, like really a lot of time. So my question is more, how hard is it really to do the second and third edits?
Well,
that be
I
done
don't
in a
know.
month?
It depends on how clean it is the first time you write it. And then also, you know, people have different processes too, right? So, like, for example, Jen might know that let's say she forgot to put the end quote every time someone was talking, and then she goes through one edit just to fix that. Like, so it depends on what your process is. What I'm a little bit concerned about is I don't know how much you have left to do, but December 31st is like 9 days away.
Wait, isn't Christmas 7 days away? Where are we? Oh, yeah. So today's the 17th.
So I don't know how much work you have to do for that first draft is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Is that too ambitious? I don't know. That's why.
No,
It's
I'm
more
pretty
like 2
confident that I can get it
than
done.
9 days, but
What'd you say?
it's more like 2 weeks than 9 days. Because Christmas Eve is in 1 week, which
Gotcha.
would take New Year's Eve would be 2 weeks from today.
And so at what pace do you have to work to be finished? Like, are you thinking chapter a day? Are you thinking an hour a day? Like, what is the commitment level that you will have to give to this to make it happen?
I think, considering what we have right now, I think that if I were to do maybe 7,000 more words, then the first draft would be done.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really close. Because remember, it's just a novella.
Right.
And I was starting to add too much to the story for a novella because nothing was going to be able to be full without it becoming a novel. So,
I mean, I think you can totally do 7,000 words. I don't want you to think that we don't think you can do it. We
Yep.
just want to make sure that you, because it could be like discouraging if you set another goal and aren't able to make it. So we want it to be a goal you can reach. I totally think you can do it as long as like life doesn't blow up in your face, right? Which I guess that's all of us. Like it could happen then. Right?
yeah.
Okay, well, 7,000-ish words. Let's just say it's 10,000 so that you feel like it's not, yay, and I'm done, and I didn't have to write 10. So that's not very many per day words. Are you going to make I'm going to write 25 minutes a day sort of goal with yourself? Like, are you going to write daily? Like, what commitment are you willing to give to this project?
I think that you have a really good idea of just setting office hours, because if I set office hours for everything, it would free up a lot of time, actually, I think. Because right now what I do is I say, here's this project, I want to get this project done, and I just work on it like crazy until it's done. But I think scheduled office hours, a certain amount of time for each job I'm doing, is what I need to do. And I think it'll be productive for me.
I think so too. And what I wish happened more was for me to be like, oh no, it's time for me to move on. But I was just hitting my stride with blah, blah, blah. Because then tomorrow when you come to it, you're like, great, now I can finally finish up blah, blah, blah. It was Tina who brought that idea to us that you should always leave some water in the well, or however she put it. What was that phrase, Tina?
I don't remember.
And it was like, yes, that you come back and you
It was
are still-
brilliant, whatever it was.
Yes,
It
it was.
was, yeah.
As always.
So, so we are going to be talking about office hours. Jen already has a pretty good idea of what works for her. I don't know what works for you, but yeah, I like the idea as well because I can be like you, focused on doing something to the neglect of everything else in my life, and I just need to compartmentalize. It'll really help me.
Yep.
Okay, so are you going to get back with us as to how we can hold you accountable? I mean, your deadline's coming up, so we can't like wait till next week to ask you how to hold you accountable. So
Right. No, you can hold me accountable to have my first draft done by January 31st. No, December 31st. And also, I think the office hours thing should be something I'm accountable for.
All right. Do you know how many hours or how much time you want to spend your office hours? Because that's something we can be keeping on and asking you, right? That would be.
Yeah, I'm thinking probably 4 hours a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
are you going to have like prescribed, like what time that is, or are they going to move around?
I would like to have them prescribed because, okay, right now I go walk at 8 o'clock every morning. Sometimes it's 8:15, and I'm okay with 15 minutes off, but I don't want to be 2 hours off. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if I just get my walk in, come back all not smelling fresh, but ready, because it gets my brain lubricated to do that, and also my fingers. So I think if I did like 9:30 to 1:30 every day, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Great. Okay, and so when are you thinking you would start that up? Are you starting right away? I know I'm not starting quote unquote office hours until I'm back from vacay, but that doesn't have to be your reality because you have a quicker goal than I do.
Yeah. Well, really tomorrow.
Okay.
I know we have recording to do tomorrow, so that can just be part of it.
So 9:30 is what you're saying. Okay, well, if you throw something out there that you're going to be around and you want to do a hangout, I can see if that works for me to do my writing between now and the new year.
Okay.
Awesome. And I think all of you should start answering my accountability threads when I put them on Facebook. Because
You're
if you
right.
don't answer, I feel like you haven't written and you're hiding from me.
That's the truth.
This is a private group that we have, so listeners, you won't know what I'm talking about, but it's our writing group, the large writing group with all of our members. And I put on there, did you write today? Are you moving your writing career forward? And when I hear crickets, I'm worried. If I tag you individually, if I don't hear back from you, does that ping your phone? Like, is there a way that I can nudge you without having to, or should I private message you if you don't get back to me? I mean, how far am I supposed to go to?
Maybe we shouldn't do it privately. Maybe you should do it on Twitter or something. So that the whole world sees, and then we all okay, now we're answering. And then we could ask just everyone who follows us. All right, what have you done today? And get everyone to respond, and it'd be like a big party.
Yeah, I think so. That's a great idea. Awesome.
And then just put it out there as Christian indie writers, and then if no one none of us respond, then you start tagging us in the comments.
You at J.R. Nichols.
I'm looking at you.
Yes.
Just keep in mind that I do work in the evening. I usually work between 7 and 11.
But you can respond after 11
on my online job. So if it's 10:30 and I haven't responded yet.
Oh, we'll still tag you. Too bad.
I might see it, but I can't take the time to respond to it.
That makes it even better that we can annoy you then. Knowing full well that you can't respond, we'll just start tweeting about you.
I can't believe she hasn't responded yet. She must be really shirking her goals.
Yeah.
Shirking. What kind of word is that? That's a weird word.
I like it.
All right. So do we move on from Rhonda? Do we all feel like we have a way to help Rhonda?
Yep.
Because this really is what it is all about. It's about all of us helping each other. I mean, it's the accountability part of our writing group name, which is for fellowship and support, but also for accountability. So, all right, Jen.
All right. I did meet some of my goals, and actually, I think it took Jamie before we started pointing that out to me and saying, good job. And I was like, because I am self-deprecating and like most women, and I only focused on the goals that I had not met and was so mad at myself. But I did write book 4 during Nano.
You
I
did.
did win Nano.
You did.
And I am probably about 2,000 words from finishing book 4. And that's only because I've gone back in to add a chapter. Otherwise, I could have actually stamped final draft on it. So I did meet that goal.
You got Anna onto the freebie list, even though you don't have it on Amazon yet.
Yes. So it is, Anna is out there. People can go to my website and download it for free and join my email list. So so my writing is out there for people to read and to give me feedback. And so my email list is slowly growing. So that's great because I've not really publicized it at all. So I did do that. The place where I really started to stumble was getting the other books out. And not to take blame off of me because there's plenty I could have done, but I hit a snag with editing, and not my own editing, but with an editor. And so my book 2 is still with the editor. And he's a good friend of mine, and we had a long discussion about it at the end of, actually on December 1st. And he's assured me that now that Nano is over, that he will have it to me, he says January. So so that's one of my goals, is I either stay on his case or I locate a new editor.
So did you give him a deadline?
End of January.
Okay,
is
so
what
if he doesn't
gave me
have it
that
to
deadline.
you, so
I'm
if he
moving
doesn't
on.
have it to you like by the 22nd, are you going to send him a message that says, I need it by the 29th or I'm moving on? Like, I mean, do you know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. I've been sending him messages weekly asking him how it's going. And then he's been giving me updates. So he is moving through it.
That's great.
Unless he's lying to me, but I don't think that he is. Because he enjoys doing it.
Yeah.
And he, like, we are friends, and he also knows that I'm good at editing, and he wants, when his books are done, he wants to be able to have the favor returned. So there is a little bit of pressure there because he also wants to be able to do that too. But so editing is with an editor, not myself, because I'm actually pretty decent about editing. That is one of my goals. Office hours have been alluded to by everybody, but this was an idea that just kind of came out of the blue for me that I think is really going to work for me. And I've been kind of practicing them. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but for me, Monday through Friday, I am going to write. I get my girls on the bus at 8. At 8:30, my butt needs to be in the seat, ready to write. Now, sometimes things happen. Like if my girls miss the bus and I have to take them to school, I'm running a little late. But my goal is that if anyone wants to be chit-chatting beforehand, I mean, I can be available before 8:30, but at 8:30, my goal after the first of the year, my goal is to 8:30 the timer starts, and I'm going to do writing. And I want to do at least 3 in a row, 25 minutes, 5-minute break, 25 minutes, 5-minute break, 25 minutes, 5-minute break. And then that would leave me at 10 o'clock. And then even if I spend an hour either doing like chit chat with you guys, talking about the business of podcasting, or we're talking and I'm working on a cover, I'm still going to be in the writer space. So for me, my office hours are going to be a minimum of 8:30 to 11, which is cool, Rhonda, because that means we would overlap by an hour and a half.
Yep.
Which we can keep. So then when I would be starting to wrap things up, we'd have an hour and a half together, and then I could wrap things up and you would still be there so that other ladies can like kind of come into the window at some point too.
Yeah.
Because for those that were listening, if you didn't watch the previous podcast, we talked about actually being in a hangout like this, working like it's a water cooler. Like when you have a job that you go to and you punch in every day, there are times that you're chit-chatting with the coworkers, but then everyone there has this expectation that, well, we're here to work. So people go to their office and get things done, or they're doing their job somehow. So like as writers, I feel like I need that. I need to know that like this is what I'm doing every day this time. And it's worked out really well for me because I have not just children, but I have adult parents that need my help. I have an aunt that's elderly that needs my help. And I've been able to really kind of compartmentalize my writing to these are my hours, and I've been protecting them. And then everyone already figured that out. And so now everybody calls me at 11:30, So that's been working out pretty well for me, and I schedule everything else out. My house isn't a wreck anymore because I have the office hours, I'm able to say, oh, it's 11. Now I can make the choice to stay writing and doing the business side of writing, but I've been taking it and saying, I'm done for the day. That's my job. And now I'm back to being mom again. And it's been really great for me because I'm not stressed out about my writing when I'm cleaning and doing laundry and whatnot. And I'm not stressed out about the laundry and the cleaning when I'm doing my writing because I've made time for it. Does that make sense? I mean, there's always going to be laundry and there's always going to be cleaning and there's always going to be writing. But the fact that I'm giving them each their own time that I don't like steal from has really helped me to really mentally take care of business. And I really am liking that. So,
Well, and I do like hearing that your extended family and the people who rely on you are starting to take your writing as seriously as you are because you are treating it like a job, which people can understand. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
well, I can't call you right now because I know this is the time that you're always doing X, Y, and Z. I think it also sort of like legitimizes to people that you're actually working or doing a job,
Right.
Now, whether that's right or wrong, I'm sure people would argue like, well, whatever, but still, it I think does help.
Again, everybody's going to be different. This is what's going to work. I think is going to work for me. I was actually in a hangout with Jamie earlier today writing, and then we had our 5-minute break and the phone rang and it was my dad. So I muted the computer. I answered it and I let him know. I said, okay, I can't stay long because I am writing right now. And he was super respectful about it. And I think it's just like Jamie said, I've made parameters and people that love you want to respect, but like, I don't think that people understand the life of a writer. So you give them an understanding and most people are going to like respect that. And so that's what I'm finding at least. So for goals for me, office hours for sure, the new editor or, push my editor. And then I'm going to spend January outlining book 3, like really solidly outlining it instead of just trying to fix it. I'm going to do a whole new outline and see if it's a complete rewrite or if I can salvage most of what I've done. And in my writing time, because I'm writing every day, at least Monday through Friday to keep my brain glowing, I'm writing every day. I'm gonna be working on back cover, like the blurb, the synopsis, the blurb, whatever, the acknowledgments that go on the back, all my newsletters. I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to do some creative writing. I like to do what ifs, and I like to do just kind of like free writing when I'm outlining. And so I'll be doing all that. So I'm not going to give up on writing, but I'm not going to allow myself to write that novel until the next month because I really discovered that because Nano made me not write it until November 1st, that I kept working on this and working on this and working on this. And then when I finally started writing, it was like gold. Like it just was so much better for me. And the writing, like there wasn't a whole lot to like fix as far as plotting. And there's a lot of editing, but And then so February I'll write book 3. So those are my new goals: is that the office hours and outlining book 3 in January and just writing every day during my office hours.
So are you starting that like now, tomorrow?
I've been doing it loosely, but starting January 1st, you guys can count on me 8:30 to 11. So I won't keep bugging you in the discussion, like waking you guys up if you're still sleeping, but just know that at 8:30 I'm writing. So if one of you wants to, I won't go into a hangout unless someone else wants to because it just takes up data for me. But yeah, so I'm doing it now, but my husband's coming home next week. My husband's coming back.
Oh,
So I don't want to commit to it. Jamie's the one that pointed out I shouldn't commit to it yet, but after January 1st, like I'm committed to that. That's my office hours, going back to work.
Great way to put that.
Mm-hmm. I really like the idea of the office hours. And I have this app that I use because I work from home. I work online and I have to keep track of my hours, and then I have to submit much time I worked in like a timesheet for my employer. And so I have this app called Toggle, and I had just hit the timer and it keeps track of my hours, and then it saves it in a little graph. So I'm thinking that part of my accountability is I'm gonna set up office hours, and then I'm gonna put it in my Toggle because I can have work and then I can have a writing folder so I can keep them separate. and then I can upload a screen print of my time card.
Clock in and clock out.
And, like at the end of the week, like, here's the time I spent.
Mm-hmm. And I think if you can coordinate your office hours with one of us or all of us or something, that would be helpful too. Because this is something else that Jamie and I talked about. Let's say you guys know that I start at 8:30 and there'll be a sprint. Well, maybe you like you said, your mind's not ready at 8:30, but you still show up. And while I'm writing, you're quietly doodling, or you're making your breakfast, but you're there. Like, you're already getting your mind set that it's writing time. This is my job. I've shown up. I'm at the water cooler now.
She's in the break room.
Yeah, she's in the break room because it takes her a little bit more time with the coffee in the morning. But then the next sprint, then you're sitting down, and then maybe you're still not writing, but you're going to work on doing some social media posts or something. But like, it's all about, because there'll be some mornings that you're just too tired, but you have to go to work if you have a real job, right? I would think it would be great if we could try to, whatever office hours that each of us make, that you, even if you don't feel like it, you still show up somehow, just like it's a real job, and see if that doesn't help us. Maybe it won't. I guess this is another experiment, but we'll see. It's helped me so far.
Yeah, I really like that idea.
All right. So you're going to set office hours as well. So we're back to you now, Tina, like I said we would be. So you're going to set office hours. There's one thing we can keep you accountable for, and you're going to let us know.
And I'm going to make a timesheet on Toggle, and I'm going to keep track of my office hours. So at the end of the week, I'll have a graphic that shows that I actually did my office hours.
So do you think that your office hours will slide around, or are you going to have set office hours?
I will have every other Monday have co-op, but other than that, I think I can keep them the same. I like between 9 and 12-ish, maybe 8 and 11. I don't know. I'm going to have to see.
I know for a long time I was getting up at 6:30, and 8:30 would not seem so ghastly early to me. But because my sleeping hours have been moving all around the place, it's irritating. Like, I haven't been ready at 8:30. So it's really stressful for me to try to figure out what my timeline is going to look like. I just don't know yet. I could probably work myself up to it. Like, if I know I start a new job on the 7th, for example, and it starts at 7, well, then that's what time I have to be there. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I'll have to think about it, because 8:30 is not unreasonable. And again, I've kind of told myself I can give writing 5 years. So if that means I'm up early to be somewhere at 8:30, so be it. Your cello is like moving closer to you inch by inch. Don't look now.
So now the secret's out that I knocked into it before we started recording, and I must have just moved it enough to. Hi, honey. It's not my bass. It's my husband's. And he's like,
oh no! Is that why he left?
You treat me back really poorly. Says, "Get away from it!"
Oh no!
Sorry. I'm sorry.
That's all right. So anyway, the point is, if I were starting a new job that started at 8:30, that's what it would be. I'm in the kind of same boat as Tina with some outside of the house obligations on Mondays, but I think that I can make that work. So we'll just have to see. And of course, we do podcast recording during some of that time on Tuesdays. So
right. So my schedule will be Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
And because Tuesday is the podcast.
Right, because we have writing built into our podcast, which I'm so grateful that we made that decision at the very beginning.
Me too.
So we will be. My brain will glow that day as well. And I have other business that things I have to do for the podcast too. So I try to do that all. I try to keep it to Tuesday, but it kind of bleeds into the rest of the week. But yeah, so I think that will work out great for me at least. So, and keep in mind, like, I know 8:30 is early. I get up at 5:30. Not by choice, because I have to, right? Because I have children going to school. So I understand that, like, I've been up for 3 hours. I'm like, come on, guys, that's right. And you guys are like trying to turn your phone off.
I'm usually laying in bed. My alarm's already gone off. And I'm just like, no, I don't want to get up yet. And then I had downloaded this really annoying voice on my phone for your guys' messages because I was missing them. I wasn't hearing the notifications. So it's this little boy going, message! Like that. And so then my phone starts going, message, message. I'm like, all
Because
right,
I
I'm
don't
getting
just send
up.
one. It's maybe a couple gifts afterwards.
And then there's the people responding to you. Yeah. So,
we know. Oh, I know it's annoying.
well, that's why I did it, because it would be, I wouldn't be able to ignore the messages. So
Right. All right.
I
Yeah,
think
sorry.
Normally we record in the mornings, which when I'm at my peak. Not at nights. We had to do it the evening here, and I just want to point out that Jamie was the one that just yawned. I have not yawned yet, even though I'm the one that they were all worried about.
Yeah, it's 10 o'clock and I'm getting a ride to the airport in 6 hours.
fun.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll be, empty and everything. 2 weeks before Christmas. It's going to be a piece of cake.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Flying.
Sure.
Breeze through security, I'm sure.
Everyone's
With
going to
your
be going
children.
the other way because you're leaving Florida.
So
That's
let me
true.
tell you this story about my children. The last time we traveled together, I'm always kind of like anxious about or whatever. So the guy at the counter is like, "What's your name?" And my older daughter says her name. And he said, "What's your birthday?" And she says her birthday. Then he says to my son, "What's your name?" And he says his name. And he says, "What's your birthday?" And he says the birthday. Then he gets to my middle child, who
Oh,
is
God.
like all in her head about, "Oh, what is going on?" And he's like, "What's your name?" And she says her name. And then he says, What's today? What day is it?" She's homeschooled, and it does not matter what day it is to her. She's like, "I don't know." And I'm like, that's like, do not give that answer. Like, say the wrong day of the week. And I'm like, of all the kids for him to pick, because the poor girl was just like, and I felt like I couldn't help her because she had to like be able to answer. Anyway, he was just messing with her, I guess. He let
So
us
this is
through.
the TSA guy, not like the person checking you in.
I don't even know. Just the guy at the podium. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just kind of follow the herd of people everywhere. So there's some guy who looked official at the beginning of the line. And I mean, he could have just been like another traveler pretending to work for the airline. I don't know.
Hey, Bucky, hold my phone and video this. Watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to act like I work here.
I think he was a TSA. Like, it was the beginning of all of that. And it
Okay.
was at Detroit Metro. So that was a very calm trip, because it was like, no one wants to go to Florida when it's hot. And that's when that was. So anyway,
Nobody wants to go to Michigan when it's cold.
except for me. What, Rhonda?
Where are you flying out of tomorrow?
Orlando, which
Oh,
was
yeah,
that is crazy there, I will tell you.
Yeah.
And they have like drug sniffing dogs, which of course the
Oh,
homeschooling
you're in
family's like,
trouble.
"Oh, look, drug sniffing dogs, how cool!" Like, we want to like ask questions, but we don't, and we're just like, "Oh, look, they're working," and all this stuff.
And my public school kids are like, "Oh, another drug sniffing dog." Ours is named Smithy. I don't know what his name.
Oh, it's awesome.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
Okay,
it was
I
really
think
fun.
it's time to transition to our next part of the podcast, which has been previously recorded. So this is where Jen can cut the feed.
All right. So
Bye,
we're going to be
everyone.
we're going to be going over to our writing activity that we did months ago. So we hope you enjoy it, and we hope you have a great New Year. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, it is feedback time. Time for the feeding of the backs.
I forgot all about that.
The four of us have submitted a raw, fresh, unedited piece. And because they are raw, fresh, unedited pieces, we are not going to give each other criticism, only encouragement. So we're going to read them and then out loud so you guys can hear it. And then we're going to encourage each other. And so this week we had a writing prompt that we got off of Reedsy. Am I correct in saying it was off of Reedsy?
Yeah, if you just go to Reedsy, or actually, I just went to Google and typed in Reedsy writing prompts, and it took me straight to the page. But Reedsy is a website for writers, and they have all kinds of resources. But they put out a ton of writing prompts all the time, and they actually have a short story writing contest every week too. So you check it out.
Oh, that sounds fun. Okay, so who has the writing prompt ready that they could actually read it so our listeners can know what it was.
I can do that.
Okay.
No, I cannot. Yes, I can. You are a cashier at a popular supermarket. Describe the day it will finally close down to the public.
Okay. And we always like to remind our listeners that we only had 15 minutes.
It'll
So
be
who wants to go
great.
first?
I'll
Well,
go first because I'm not
go.
falling into that trap again. Following you guys. Okay. And also, I only wrote like 100 words. I just couldn't, I started out really strong and then, of course, I typed it. So I was editing to it. So anyway,
It's 100 more words than you had before you started.
That's right.
Well, that's true. And
of
also, I'm
words.
going to tell you, I am going to save this and I am going to finish this because I already
Yay!
All right. All right. This is the last coupon I will ever hold in my hand. I vow to myself as I glance at the flimsy slip of paper and pretend to check for the expiration date. Old Mrs. Coon never remembers to make sure coupons aren't expired. I sneak a glance at her from the corner of my eye. Or does she? I remember back to some of the doozies she's given me in the past. Some of them are so old they're only worth 5 cents. And printed on part of a box they don't even sell anymore. Her bony old fingers are counting out some pennies. I must have already given her the total while I was daydreaming. I do that a lot. I've never gotten in trouble for my tills, so I must be right. I glance at the register to make sure pennies are adding up to the total as I pick up my reward. You got it, Mrs. Coon. That's all we need. She's 24 cents off still, but there's a quarter I found on the till I can fill in the gap. All right, dear, she begins in her frail old lady voice. I sure will miss coming here for my groceries. It's been 80 years for me. My daddy used to bring me here for penny candy when I was just a little girl. I say the words along with her in my head. I mean, no disrespect, but I've only heard the story not only from her every Saturday morning for the last 9 years, but half of the other patrons here have the same or very similar tale to tell. I catch myself tearing up. I'll miss it here too. Not the job, but these people are my family. Okay, that's it. That's all I got.
That's so
Oh.
good. Her bony old fingers. I mean, just the voice of this person. This is so great. I really like this.
I
That is
do
so
too.
heartwarming. It's sad. I don't want the store. Save the store.
I know. Save the store.
Can we have a bake sale or is there a singing contest 2 cities over that we could enter if we could just come up with the entry fee?
What a
And
great idea.
We could go as a 4-person group and do a
Right.
routine.
Yeah,
You don't
maybe
want
we could
me
have a
on that
great
group.
dance.
I cannot sing.
Like, how many movies have been made on that premise of save the
Yeah.
whatever, right?
Yeah.
Wow, that is very, very good. Wow. Really excellent, Rhonda. Goodness.
Well, thank you.
Wow.
Loved it.
Me too.
All right, who's going to follow that? No volunteers.
I'll go because I don't know. Mine was kind of rambling because I had no idea.
Yeah,
I'm
you said that
sure
you had a hard time with the
I
prompt.
didn't know what I was going to do with the prompt, so I just kind of tried to channel my days at Walmart as a Walmart cashier. So,
Mm.
okay, here goes. Hi, welcome to Floor Mart. Did you find everything you needed today? The words came from my lips in the same tone they had 1,000 times a day for the last 20 years. 1,000 different responses echoed unheard through my head. Yes, I found way more than I needed. Ceased to be amusing on day 3, although the customers always chuckled, thinking themselves clever. Today, the responses were different. I can't believe you're closing. What will you do now? You must be so sad. I answered them with a smile. Yes, it is sad. I will spend more time with my grandkids. Yes, it is a bit sad. Thank you for shopping at Floor Mart. Have a nice day. Finally, my shift was over. I closed out my register and handed it to the cashier manager. Do you want me to escort you back to the time clock, he asked. No, I'll be okay, I answered. You sure? Yes, I'll be fine. I made my way back to the back of the store. As I stepped through the double doors marked employees only, a wind pulled at my ponytail. A green creature with tentacles on his head and 3 long suction cup tipped fingers held out his arm to stop me. The portal is currently open. Please wait, said the mechanical voice from the translator box attached to his throat. When the wind stopped, he let me pass. I walked to the time clock and punched my card. After retrieving all my things from my locker, I made my way back to the double doors. A man in an orange hazmat suit stood talking to the green creature. I'm going to need you to come with me, ma'am, he said when I approached. What? Why? I need to get home. I'm afraid that's impossible, ma'am. We cannot let knowledge of this portal to the Pictola galaxy get out. We will be detaining you for the unforeseen future.
Yay!
Well, that one took me by surprise.
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
I wondered. There was a little foreshadowing that something was amiss by the time
Uh-huh.
clock. I'm like, what's waiting for her? Like in my mind, I seriously like, oh, something creepy is going to be in the thinking. Surely not. But then it was. So yay! I was very satisfied by that story.
I
must
was
say.
too. That was good.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, it was a
awesome.
total surprise to me too, believe me.
And it had a beginning, middle, and end. So good job because I did
Yep.
not make it that far today.
Aw.
Good job. I love that. Just love it.
Thank you.
All right. Should I go next, Jen, or do you want to
Sure.
go?
No, you go ahead.
All right. I watched Trent pour the dust from the bottom of the cereal box into his bowl. I caught him grimacing, but when he looked up and saw my eyes on him, the pressed lips turned upward at the corners and he showed me his teeth. I guess cornflakes will do for today, Mama, he said. I handed him the white box with the black lettering, shaking it slightly. Only about a third of a box. Not a lot, but enough for his breakfast. Thanks, Mama. He filled his bowl and wet the top layer of flakes with a minuscule amount of milk from the almost empty jug on the table. I'll leave some milk for Mariella, he offered. From her place in her exerciser, Mariella shrieked at the sound of her name and jumped 3 times in rapid succession. Usually the sounds of my baby's shout-outs to her big bro brought a smile to my lips, but this time tears welled in my eyes as it occurred to me how real all of this transition was becoming to our family. He knows, I thought. He's saving milk for the baby because he knows. Todd came into the room, white as his shorts and spilling out of them like a freshly popped can of biscuits. He scratched absently at his hair and poured himself a cup of coffee. Morning, he said. I did not speak. I watched Trent watch him pour the rest of his milk into his coffee cup, then shake the jug absently and toss it into the recycling bin. I felt my lips pucker as I saw the dripping milk run down the wood paneling. Trent must have started watching me because he jumped from his seat and grabbed the dish towel from its place on the drain rack. Last day for you, huh? Todd said, twirling the yellow piece of paper that had changed our lives 2 weeks ago. Yeah, you found anything yet? Nah. Both hands went up to his shorn head and he massaged it vigorously. Might have caught a lead on something up in Sturgis, though. I turned to face him, leaned against the sink with my arms crossed. So that's what you were up to last night? I asked. Networking? Our eyes locked. Todd's face went from milk white to bull-flagging red before I could take a second breath. You don't know nothing about it, he snarled. His hand came up. A finger shot out, a weapon long-grown impotent against me. Me? I did not let him finish. Me? I know plenty. I know, for example, that me and the kids, we're going to be fine, is what I know. Mama, Trent's voice quiet to my left. I look at him. His face is all eyes. His hands are worrying the rag. From her 3, 2.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh,
Wow.
right here.
Just
oh my
pull the
gosh.
dagger out of my heart.
Oh,
Oh my word.
I love Trent. Can I take him home with me?
Yes.
Oh,
Your
His mama
description
would
of
be
her husband.
sad.
I love that. I mean, I totally see it.
You know the guy. You know what
Yes.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know
Right.
that guy.
Right.
Mhm.
yeah.
So,
Wow.
I
that
don't
was so
like that
good.
guy either.
Yeah.
Right.
That's so good, Jamie.
Well, thank
Love it.
you.
Yeah. I don't want to
And I want to know the ending. You have to write it.
I don't know if I do. I mean, that's like a tearjerker, I think it's going to be.
I don't know. I don't think so. She said, I know that the kids and I are going to be all right. I think she's going
Well,
to be the phoenix out of the
that's true.
ashes, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Or she has a shotgun hidden.
Yeah.
Behind her
Tina!
back.
That would be more
I
like
like that one.
some like where now you're tracking with me there maybe. I don't know. All right. So
I would pull the
Jenna,
shotgun out and say, "You, not so much."
Yeah. Shouldn't it be a handgun? How do you just pull a shotgun out?
Well, she can't murder him quite so handily, or she will be
Right.
sent to prison. It has to be a little sneakier than that, wouldn't you think?
Like in the coffee.
Oh yeah,
Because she has to take care of the baby. So
rat
anyway,
poison in the jelly or something.
Yes.
I thought it
Who
was
would do
skinny and
that?
sweet.
All right. We'll finish it up. Is ready for this?
Yes.
All right. I took a little bit of leeway with the story prompt. It's not just a grocery store, but thank you for shopping at Kmart. The lady grabbed her bag. She said nothing as she left Amanda's lane. She didn't even look at Amanda in the eye. Man, how Amanda hated this job. The next customer went straight to the point of sale kiosk to enter his rewards number while she began scanning his items. A bag of marshmallows and a box of graham crackers. Looks like someone is planning some s'mores, she said cheerfully. The man looked at her as he grabbed his phone out of his pocket. Hey, Matt, what's up? And so her day continued, customer after customer, item after item, without a pleasant word or a smile from anyone. Just like every other day, she'd been employed at the Belsey Road Kmart. The only difference was, this day would be the last. When the corporation had announced that they were closing the store, Amanda went through the same shock as every other employee. She had a kid to raise, for goodness sake. What was she going to do now? But, she reasoned, she really did hate this job. Maybe this was just God's way of pushing her to make a career change. I'm really going to miss this place. Amanda was startled back to reality by the old woman at her register. Ashamed that she had just become just like her previous customers, Amanda flashed her best smile. Fake or not, a forced smile is better than ignoring the woman whom she had already scanned half a cart full of items for. It will be quite a change, was her non-committal response. You know, the old woman said, I've been shopping here for over 40 years, probably longer than you've been alive. Amanda continued smiling. Amanda was well into her 40s, but she didn't need to tell the woman that. I love the blue light specials, the woman said. Blue light specials. Amanda had forgotten them. She and her mother had spent many a Christmas Eve running around this very Kmart, snatching up the last-minute blue light specials. That was a lot of fun. Those are special memories with her mother. Amanda finished bagging the woman's items and placed them in her cart. The woman reached out and grabbed both of her hands. I'm going to miss you, dear. You were always a kind face and a listening ear when my Earl and I came in here. Earl. How could Amanda not recognize this woman? She hadn't seen her in some time and had heard that Earl had passed away. I will miss you as well. She gave the woman a hug, then returned to her register. Man, Amanda sure loved this job. Can you tell where I started to start writing really fast because the timer was going down? It was kind of like, oh, blah, 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 the end.
Yeah. Wow.
It's just so interesting. The more that we do these, the more we kind of understand how long it should be. Like we kind of feel, oh, my time is surely running out. Like today, I'm
Yeah.
like, forget it. This is just nowhere going to be finished. I might as well languish. But I love that you got her switched from I hate this job to I love this job.
Right. Yep.
Very good.
I
And
know,
it's
and I
because
figured-
of the people.
I knew from the very beginning I was going to do Kmart because we do have a Kmart nearby and it is closed down, and it makes me sad every time I drive by the empty building because I do have a lot of good childhood memories there. Kmart was the place to go, and blue light specials were fun. You know, it was
Right.
an
I was
adventure.
totally there.
Yeah.
My mom
Awesome.
used to work at like, you know how they used to have like the Slurpee counter or kind of
Yes.
Mhm.
whatever. She worked there for a while when I was really small. She would come home with like leftover popcorn or whatever. I can't remember.
The church my grandparents were at last before my grandpa retired in Lapeer was right next door to the Kmart. And my grandmother used to take us, and we would like sit on our butts and slide down the hill to the parking lot and walk over just for her to get us Slurpees.
Aww.
Yeah, that's a great memory. I love Kmart.
I remember
Alright.
that church.
Yeah.
And don't forget to stick around for our postcast where if you are our patron, you sign up on Patreon to be our patron, you can get exclusive content. You can get our postcast recording that we're about to record, where we actually are going to read some stuff that we're working on for the books that we talked about publishing, and we're going to get full-on critiques where we give people some good comments and we tell them what we might change, and sometimes they're just downright mean to me. So
Stick
not
around
really.
to watch us be mean to Tina.
There you go. Okay. So that concludes the Christian Indie Writers Podcast. So until next week, may your pen be prolific, your deadlines be met, and may all of your words honor Christ.